We're back in FTB Skies, and in this episode, we finally build our steam power plant, which will hopefully provide all the energy we need moving forward. That means we can demolish our big boy wall-to-wheel monstrosity, and we then proceed to actually undo all the work from last episode and rearrange it to make things look nicer. We then expand our factory to the second floor to master the next step in our ore processing, and then make the whole thing look nice. Strap in, it's going to be a monster. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm very excited about today's episode. We're going to be doing some very cool things, mainly getting my power station up and running, and I'm very much looking forward to that. One, because it means we can get rid of this monstrosity, and two, because it means we can reorganize our factory. And you may notice it's a little bit bigger than it was at the end of last episode. And that's basically just me working out what else we need to process here, and I won't go into too much detail now because, as I say, we are going to be redoing all of this, but essentially I'm just sort of crushing down gravel into sand and sand into dust, and then sifting both of those as well. But we'll get to that later in the episode. For now, we need to focus on this power plant. So I need to build myself a nice big platform. We've got loads and loads of coal, so that's not going to be a problem for fuel. And I need to make myself loads and loads of copper things, such as this tank thing here. We need to make a steam engine as well, and then we're going to need some pipes and pumps and all sorts going on. So I guess we're going to be processing a whole bunch of the copper we've got, but luckily we've got absolutely loads over there. So I'm going to make up all the things we need, and then we can just crack on with the build and get this thing pumping out some power. So I smelted some copper, smashed them into plates, and we got to work making all the components I'd need for the power plant. I then put in a quick foundation, and now I think we're good to start working out this build. So although I've not built one of these before, I've done a little bit of research, and I do have an idea on what I want to do, and that's going to start with just marking the center of this area here. And then we need to mark where we're going to have the actual power plant bits, I guess. So let's get some more blocks. That'll be useful. So if we give them a bit of space like that, that should work. So we're actually going to have 4 plants initially, which means we're going to be using 16 blaze burners. Although, I suppose I might only have one up and running to begin with, at least until we get some power going, and then we can always activate the other 2. But I think I'm going to get all 4 built up now. So let's start with this one here, and what we want to do is just get the 4 blaze burners down, and then we want to build a fluid tank on top of this, and I think we're going to make this 8 tall, but that should enable us to have 8 of these engines on the side of it. In fact, I think I might raise them up a little bit higher. They're going to get a bit crowded down here otherwise. There we go. They look like they're all connected, so they should all turn together. So what I need to do now is to hook up water, and what I've got is this, which is a kitchen sink, which is from the Cooking for Blockheads mod, but that's basically an infinite water source. So in theory, if we put a mechanical pump on there, and then use the wrench so it takes water out, and what that should do is basically fill this up, although this is going to need energy. So for now, I think I'm just going to quickly use a hand crank just to get the thing started. Let's give it a go. Oh, yep, look at that. Goes straight in there. And it's already producing power. Look at that. And this is without the blaze burners even having food. That was very brief. Okay, it's run out of water already. Okay, so once we actually get this cranking in properly, that should be good. So I guess what I need to do is to connect up all of this power and sort of work out where it's going to come out, and then feed some of that back into this area. So once it does start, it can just keep itself going. So let's see if I can work that out next. Well, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but that should work for now. So in theory, if we hand crank this to get it started, hopefully it should start powering itself. There we go. Looks like it's working. Well, that needs to be faster. Okay, let's speed this up. And I guess giving these guys some coal would actually be a good thing as well, wouldn't it? But let's quickly get some speed on this thing, I think, first. Look at that. That is filling up nice and quickly. It's creating loads of power. 65,000 stress units. That's amazing. So now this is working. What we need to do is automate feeding the blazes. And what we're going to use for that is some depots. We'll only set up this side for now because we only need the one mechanical arm. So we'll get that there as well. And then what I need to do is to link up this arm to these blaze burners like this. And also link it to this spot here. So it should take from there and put them in there. At least that's the hope. And it's on round robin, which means it will put one in each and just keep going round and round for as long as it can. Now we just need to hook it up to the power, and thankfully we've got some right here, so this should be fairly easy. And this is just dangerous now. Let's get rid of the hand crank. Why you no do what you're supposed to do? What have I done wrong? So I think it was going too fast. I've just slowed it down, and it seems to be kind of doing its thing. It filled one of them at least. Let's just watch him and see what he does, because this one here is getting quite low. Patiently waiting. Is he going to do his thing? Oh, he is. And he did indeed put it into that one. Okay, so he is working. He's just not overloading them. Smarter than I thought, this mechanical arm. But now that's working, we can duplicate this over here and again on these 2 sides as well. And we will have all the power. Let's get it done. I think we are just about done. Look at that mess. Isn't that wonderful? So I did actually do a little bit more research, and I did it better this time. And if I just quickly chuck a little bit of coal into this one here, we're just going to make sure that all of these are fired up. So when they're running at max power, we have a look at the boiler status at the top, and it says it's level 4. That means it can only power 4 engines. I need to actually feed these with blaze cakes to get the other 4, but that's not a problem. It just means that we've got 16 engines, which is actually quite a lot, because each one of these is producing 65,500 stress units. So if I take a moment and quickly fill up all of these, and we have a look at our stressometer around the corner here, we're creating just over 250,000 stress units, which is absolutely loads when this thing's at full power. But for now, well, we don't really need much power at all, because I'm about to strip out this factory here, and that's the only thing that's using power at the moment. And from the outside, the building's looking pretty good as well. I've even added a lift to the side. So if we jump on and push that button there, this is going to take us up to the top. Once again, it's running very, very slowly at the moment, but that's because the power station's not really up and running with the coal. And this button here will send it back down, which is marvellous. And from up here, we can just kind of see all the mess that's going on. And lastly, I have also routed some power round the back here. We still need to sort out the front here, but I think I need a break from this. And what I'm going to do is get all of this old factory ripped out, get rid of this monstrosity, and clear a space ready for this rebuild. And I have also planned ahead and emptied all the vaults as well. So everything is now in our main storage, as you can see by the 108,000 cobble we've got. That is a lot of cobble. Well, considering how long that took to put up, it all came down in about 5 minutes or so. But we do have a fresh new canvas. We're going to put down a whole new platform. We'll put a new foundation in for our factory. It's going to pretty much stretch the entire length of this area here. And hopefully it will look a little bit nicer this time round. But you have seen me build all these machines before, so I'm going to crack on and get it done. And I'll bring you back in once at least the bottom floor is looking pretty good. And then we can actually get the top floor on and start making some new machines. Kind of miss him now he's gone. Well, it's the next day in real life, and I may or may not have been up until 3 o'clock this morning building and then rebuilding this factory. But eventually, I did get a layout that works. So let's go take a closer look at what's going on down here. So I'm not going to go over each individual machine here because, well, basically they're all the same. They're just repeated. But it's fairly straightforward. Essentially, this is just our cobble storage facility. We have a bunch of pillars underneath that are just keeping this full up. And as you can see, it's got about 10,000 cobble in there at the moment, which is marvelous. And then this is getting fed into a crushing machine. So all the cobble goes into these funnels and then tunnels. The tunnels splits them evenly over both of these conveyor belts. They then get crushed. The resulting gravel in this case comes out and goes into this small vault over here. The gravel can then be pulled out the front and then go into the next one to turn into sand, and then sand into dust, and so on. And they all do the same thing. It does, of course, have a couple of cool features. So up here we have a threshold switch. So this is the thing that checks the stock level and then turns the machine on and off when needed. And then we have a display panel, and this basically has a couple of display links, which are these green things here. And I'm just telling it to take the container fill level, convert it into a percentage, and display it online too. And that's exactly what's happening here. And we're also getting the name gravel from this one here because it's just looking at what's on the depot. And lastly, we have the mechanical arms, which you may notice are currently turned off. We'll turn those on in just a moment. But what they're doing is they're taking the gravel, the sand, or the dust and putting it onto these conveyor belts at the top. This all then gets brought over here, split into all the different strainers. And then, yeah, we just have a whole array of strainers here. And then all of the goods from the strainers go over here and into this vault. And that is basically everything. Hopefully that wasn't too overwhelming.
Why don't you explain what that is to this so they can understand? Yeah, just explain what that is.
Explain what you think that is.
Okay.
Just explain that.
Basically, we're making sand, gravel, cobble, and dust over here, and then we're sifting it over here and storing it in this one here.
Magic. Got it.
Which sadly we don't have a title for because I need to put a custom title on there for like shiny things or something like that. But for that, I need a name tag, and I cannot seem to find one for the life of me. I've been using this really nice rod, but yep, still no name tag. Hopefully we'll get one soon though. So now we've got the factory at this stage. What I need to do is take a look inside this vault because yeah, you can see at the top there's some stuff that we do want to keep in the factory, and there's other stuff we can just shift off into storage. So what we can do is just grab this storage scanner. In fact, let's put it in the right place. That might be helpful. There you go. We'll just plonk that down in front. And if we set this to just do a radius of 2, excellent. And now we can see everything that's in the vault and a couple of things that have made their way in that really shouldn't have I've done. So what we need to do now is to create some filters, because we want the ores to stay here and we want everything else to go into storage. Even the diamonds and emeralds, they can go off to storage now because there's no further processing required. But everything else, I think we just want to bin it off. But you haven't seen this thing in action yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the threshold levels on this. Now we know what we're going to be doing with it, so let's get this all the way up to 80%, or in fact, let's go 90. So once it gets to 90% full, it will turn off. And we'll move up the lower threshold to, let's go 60. And then we click the tick, and look at that. It should now all be coming on. So all the mechanical arms are working. Look at that. They're grabbing the stacks from here. They're putting them on the conveyor belt. They're all getting bought over here, pulled into the funnels, and then it's all getting sifted and dumped onto the conveyor belts. Just look at all this stuff coming in. I have to say, I do love watching this thing work. So there's actually 30 items in that vault. There's 21 we don't want to keep. There's 9 we do. So next step, let's get some filters in. And I might spend a bit of time actually making the ground floor of this factory look a little bit nicer as well, because we're almost ready to move on to the second floor, which is where we're going to be processing all of these different ores. Well, I've made some progress. I've got the filtering sorted over here, which is looking lovely. We've basically got these 2 mechanical arms that just take everything out of this vault here and sort it into these drawers. And look how much stuff we've got. There's so much going on in there. And that 86% is all just ores, which is amazing because we're almost ready to send them up to the next floor. And I've also discovered these cool trapdoor frames, which you can actually click with any block and then it applies that texture to it. But I actually just kind of like them for barriers in this factory here. I think they're going to work quite nicely. It's all starting to come together. So I've also added these redstone switches here because most of the ore actually comes from gravel. So I kind of wanted to have control over these mechanical arms so that even when this is empty, although it has activated them over here, I've got my own little control panel. So if, for example, I'm like, okay, let's go sift some dust, I can do that. And then the arm starts going, dust goes across, then the dust is going to get sifted, all the goods go into the vault. And then the arms around the back here, look at this, look at them go. They're sorting it all out and they're putting everything into these drawers here. In fact, we can get a better view of that if we go around the back here. And there we go, we see our mechanical arms hard at work. So each of them has basically been assigned sort of half the wall and the middle just overlaps between both of them. And they just grab things off these conveyor belts, put them in their home. And I love them. I think these things might be the best part of the game. But we've got way too much of that sort of stuff anyway. I mean, look, we've got 13,000 redstone. We're never going to use that. So, as I say, I can sort of control them individually. And if I just want the gravel to be sifted so that we're only getting ores coming through, that's an option I've got, which is great. So I've also made a small contraption over here in the power plant. Basically, I was sick of making andesite casings. So now I can just put logs here. They get stripped on the saw, and then they get hit with an andesite alloy by the deployer here, and then that just creates all of the andesite alloys I could need, which is great because I'm using them for loads of stuff. So the next step's going to be to get the second floor in, and that means we can actually make a start on grinding down the raw ore. And from that, I believe we're also going to get XP, which is good. And then we'll get the crushed ore, and then we'll need to wash the crushed ore, and that's going to finally give us the ingots that we need. In fact, it's going to give us nuggets, so I guess we're going to have to compress the nuggets into ingots as well. And we've got 9 different ores coming out of this to do that for, so that's going to be quite the challenge to fit that up there. Let's see what we can do. Despite all my fishing, I've still not found an item tag, and that makes me very sad. But I think I've got an idea of how we might solve that, which we'll test in just a moment. But as you can see, I've made some good progress on the factory. I've got this lovely little platform out the front here, so we'll probably just stack up some ores on this side. We've got the walls in, which are definitely in all around the building. We just don't need to talk about the back. It's absolutely fine. And we've started making some progress upstairs. There's something I want to try over here because we can't get ourselves a name tag, but well, we can make these things read off of depots, so I do wonder if I put a custom named item on the depot, so I've called that raw ore, is this going to work? Well, it's not going to work if I do that. Let me link it to the right thing. So we need to link it to that board, link it to there. Item name, line 1. Okay, in theory, this should work. It does. Okay, excellent. So we don't need an item tag. I can stop fishing, which makes me very happy. I've spent about 2 hours fishing with absolutely no joy so far. But I think this is looking pretty good now. The die does help as well separate the title from the percentages. But anyway, right, let's have a look upstairs. So what are we doing? We have all the ore coming up here. It comes in 3 different tracks. These 3 tracks then go over here, and they go into all of these tunnels. My plan here is then to put filters on the front, so we'll have raw iron, raw gold, raw osmium, and so on, going all the way down for the 9 different raw ores. So they'll all come up here, they'll go into these crushing wheels. So we have a line of 9 crushing wheels there. That's going to put quite a lot of stress on the system, but with our power, that shouldn't be an issue. All the crushed ore is then going to drop onto these conveyor belts and go into the tunnels, but because we can also get XP from this, I have added these tunnels so we can once again filter out all the crushed ores on the front, and then we can just filter the XP out the side and store that somehow, somewhere. We'll figure that out later. So at this stage, we're going to have the 9 different types of crushed ore coming in on these 9 conveyor belts. And there's still 2 more steps before we've actually got this fully processed, and we don't have a lot of space to do it in. So the first thing we need to do is get some encased fans in, and we need to wash the ore, so we need to raise it up and drop it in front of the fans. So let's get that bit sorted first. So I think I've got this all worked out, and I'm actually going to blast them and just smelt them directly after this point, I think, because if I wash them, I'm also going to get redstone, and believe me, I really don't need any more redstone. So what we're actually going to do is just stick lava in here, and that will cook them and then store them in a vault is probably the best idea. Let's build another vault. All right, so in theory, this whole thing should, I say should, work. However, I do still need to figure out what's going to happen with the XP, but we'll wait until we've got it up and running first and figure that out from there, I guess. And of course, I need to add power because we don't have power on any of this so far, like absolutely none of it. So let's figure out that bit next. Power is now in, and I'm just checking to make sure it's all doing the right thing. They're spinning the right way. Okay, we're looking pretty good. I think everything apart from these, actually, we need to get those hooked up. But other than that, I think we're all good. I do want to make sure I get the filters on before we go too far with this, though. So let's grab the bits we need for that. So that's all those filters in. We should be good. It looks like I'm going for a ride. Hey, all those filters are in now. Now, I guess we had some lava and hope for the best, right? In fact, before we do that, I'm just going to chuck loads of stuff on here and get some crushed stuff going, and hopefully we can see this whole thing kind of working. We should end up with loads of crushed ore just bunched up over here because it shouldn't be able to get in there. In fact, we should probably get power to those conveyor belts as well first. Are they going the right way? Yeah. Okay, excellent. So let's chuck some ores on and see what happens. So this doesn't seem to work for extracting the XP, so I guess that's the thing we're going to need to solve. How do we sort out the XP? I've got an idea. Well, that seems to work. We just need to actually send that somewhere now, I guess. Wow, that is a lot of experience. Yep, that was about 5 levels of XP there, and that was only 9 stacks of ore. This is going to be an amazing XP farm. So what do we do with the XP? I wonder if this would work. An experience obelisk. So how does this thing work? I can add experience into it. Does it pick up anything that's on the floor? No. So it looks like I can use an absorption hopper to collect the nuggets of experience. What do I do now? Oh my days, what is going on here? Okay, so this isn't converting it into liquid, it's just picking up my XP orbs. This is not what I wanted. I think I've kind of solved it. Kind of. But look how full that thing is already, and I've barely even touched it. So yeah, it looks cool, but it's not really a long-term solution. So my solution is a little bit manual. So this thing here is gradually going to fill up, which is absolutely fine. Then that's going to fill up, which is fine. And lastly, over here, we just have this little vault, which is mainly just so I can actually get the XP orbs up nice and high so I can move them. But this vault here is the one that's got the stock indicator. And when this gets full, this will actually turn off the ore processing down here. At the same time, the ingots vault over here is also linked up to this one here. So if this gets above 90%, that will also turn this off. So once again, everything's all linked together and things will just get created as they're needed. But you may notice I've made a small change over here as well. I realized I'd massively over-engineered it. So we've actually just got 9 fans over there blowing this way now, and everything's getting cooked by about this sort of point here. Generally, stuff gets finished. But also the speed is keeping up nicely over here. So things are backing up, if anywhere, they're backing up here. And then they're going up the top here, getting ground, and so on. But we could speed this up. If I was to change how much stuff is coming out down there, then it would make this a bit faster. But currently we're only doing 3 at a time, and that's mainly because we don't really need it to be any faster. I mean, already, look, we've got over 1,000 of nearly every ingot, so yeah, we certainly don't need to worry about that. What we do need to worry about, however, is actually sorting these out. But that's not a problem for today. That's a problem for another day. But enough about the ores. We know that's working. The XP, how are we turning it into liquid? So, as I say, what we've got is it's all getting stored up in this vault here. It's already got 3.4k. Oh, okay, so it looks like it can hold about 100k. That's good. That's a lot more than I thought. But the way I've done it is I've got a depot here, and obviously every time I take a stack, another stack's going to appear, and I can just do this, and that will apply the XP to me. And as you can see, we're getting absolutely loads of it, considering that was only 5 stacks. But then what we're doing is we've got these things here, which are XP drains. So if I stand on these, they go all sparkly, sparkly, and as you can see, it's stealing all of my levels. If we then go into free cam and have a look at what's going on, we have pumps underneath. That is pumping out all of the fluid XP. It's going across all these pipes, which are that long. I've actually had to put in booster pipes as well. And there we go. It's already emptied all the levels I had on me. And then that's pumping into this tank here, which is great because it looks awesome. But well, I mean, it's pretty much just going to be aesthetic. I don't think that's going to be particularly useful, but I think it's safe to say the majority of our XP is just going to be stored in this vault here. But we have made some epic progress today. We've got our power station up and running. We've got all the ore processing and actually getting turned into ingots. Next step is going to be obviously to get these sorted out and stored a bit nicer. We've got plenty of space over here in the factory still as well, which is nice. But yeah, I think that's about where we're going to wrap it up today. It's been a long one and my brain hurts. Bye-bye now.